welcome to a new episode of In Case You Forgot, episode number 9. Today's date is January 23rd, and I am sad, depressed, angry, feeling a little violent. Yeah, I'm off the fumes right now, but we just suffered a defeat in the 93rd minute to Manchester United. Game finished 1-0. Pretty important match for our top 4 chances. Before we start and we let people get in the chat, talk their shit, whatever they want to do. Let's do a quick little thoughts of what we thought of that match, Alan. Well, first off, Alan, how are you?
Not good.
Charlie, how are you?
Fine.
Costia.
In between those two.
Okay, so I'm going to be the only one angry today. Besides Lawrence, of course. I know Lawrence was not too pleased yesterday. Lawrence, I hope you're well. All right.
Okay.
Alan, tell me your thoughts about yesterday. And try and keep it short because I know we could write a book about it.
I mean, we were shit, weren't we? So I don't have much else to say. Like, we are awful. There was absolutely nothing going on in the attacking department. So Fornos was behind the play all the time. So was
I'm going to
Andini.
file a complaint to HR about our attacking department. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Antonio wasn't good. Bowen was looking fine. He was probably our best player outside of Rice and maybe Zuma. But yeah, it was just
not
we had
it.
nothing going on. Like,
it was not it,
an
Chief.
off day. Pretty much like every time when we travel to Old Trafford, it's an off day. So
I was talking to my Mank friend who I love. He's like a brother to me. I tell him I hate playing United because every single match I feel like it just can't be a normal 2-0 defeat, 3-0, 3-1. It's always in some dramatic, gut-wrenching, I want to puke, I want to fight you like match, and I'm sick and tired of those. Charlie, give me a quick rundown what you thought about the match.
Yeah, man.
All right, Costia, what did you think about them? I feel
I'll take
knowing Charlie, I think that's really all he was going to say. I know I cut him off, but I really feel like he was going to end right there.
I mean, you can see all his thoughts in essay form by rewatching the watch along. But anyway,
essay is giving it lightly. I would say solo diatribe for 2.5 hours, but we'll go with essay. That makes it sound like there's some sort of intelligence to it.
Yeah, I was trying for that.
I'll take it.
I'll take Charlie's time and do a thorough, quick analysis here.
Can I get a BCR?
So let's start with. I'm going to do the entire lineup quickly and to the point. I'm not going to bore you, I promise. Soufal was mediocre, but he didn't deserve to be taken off, and I don't understand that whatsoever. Taking Soufal off because he's having a mediocre day at the office to bring on Fredericks is like taking off Cresswell to bring on Masuaku because Cresswell's having a mediocre day at the office. I thought Areola was terrific. I'll leave that there. And I don't want to see Fabianski again. Well, I mean, I do want to see him at Kidderminster because it means that Areola is starting the Prem. So I guess I do want to see him pretty soon, but then I don't want to see him again. Unless Areola gets hurt, which would be inevitable. Craig Dawson, I want to actually applaud. I thought he was the third best player yesterday. And you don't hear me say that a lot. But I was thoroughly, to me, that was the best defensive Craig Dawson game I've seen. We could talk about his overall games where he scored, but that was in his entire time here. And I thought Zuma's the one who looked a little bit behind, like I haven't played in a couple months and I was seriously hurt. I thought Cresswell, again, average game. My huge problem, Thomas Souček. Thomas Souček looked like me out there. Every time he got the ball, he did something I do: a short, easy pass or give it away. Because that's literally what I do. The difference is he came on a couple crosses and he was still that attacking threat. But I think he's a huge weak link. And so there's a ton of question marks. Fornals was absent. Lanzini was absent. Bowen wasn't as good because his attacking partners were absent. Antonio looks knackered, has no competition. So it was a very depressing day. And what tops it off to make it even more depressing is David Moyes' tone when he's asked about like transfers. And you could speculate, is that true to what's going on behind the scenes, or is he just upset because he just lost?
And y'all are gonna have to wait to find out.
I'm
when
done,
we start
but yeah,
debate.
depressing.
Charlie, do you have any further thoughts before we begin?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say this, and I will be
took his
taking
time.
I will be taking no questions from after it. I thought Ryan Fredericks coming on was the right move. Okay, everyone, that's our show. Let's get to it. Let's give it a jolly good try. Deploy the boys.
Have it, yes. What's the opposite of deployment?
Employment.
Quarantine the boys.
Quarantine the boys.
I don't know. I don't know.
Quarantine the boys. Come on, there we go. Let's go.
Hide the boy.
Hide the boys.
Stuff them away. All right, lads. Let's get on with it. After we just gave a little brief summary about the match, I mean, straight to the point. What do you think our top four chances are now? I know Burnley, huge result today. They honestly, some of their counterattacks towards the end, they maybe could have won it if they were a little bit smarter or clinical. But I'll take the point. And Tottenham and Chelsea are currently playing right now. Draw or Tottenham loss would be huge, as we all know. We will start. I'm going to start with Costia. Let me get my timer. You're going to have 2 minutes as always. Costia, the question is, what are our top four chances now, in your opinion? Are we getting top four? Are we not? Are we getting relegated? Are we going to get 3 more points this season? Will we avoid relegation? But are we going to get top four? Your time starts now.
No. 5% chance, 10% chance. I'm in my 30s now, and I've experienced Avram Grant and Alan Pardew and David Moyes is a man amongst giants when you consider who we've had as managers. He's up there with John Lyle for what he's achieved in a short amount of time. He's not quite John or Greenwood, but if you look at the table and the games in hand, and you look at the fact that we haven't signed anybody whatsoever, and that even if we do sign people, I'll be more sure of my answer on February 1st when I've seen what I think is going to happen, which is that we're Kretinsky's absent, Sullivan and Gold don't want to spend, and when David Moyes says he's being backed, he's not. But I think because of all those things, injury, Ogbonna being out is really huge. Ogbonna being out is huge. Not replacing Sebastian Haller in 380 days since you sold him is huge. And you can have a
30 seconds.
You can have a great mind like Moyes and a great group of guys with great camaraderie, and that'll last for a while. And I was probably premature when, a few episodes ago, I was talking about how we're going to get hurt, how we're knackered and things like that. But it just catches up to you. It does. We don't have depth, and they're going to catch us. Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United have already passed us. They have too many games in hand. The schedule is unpredictable. Thank you, Clips, for being here. It's unpredictable because we beat Chelsea one week and then we lose to Norwich the next week. But I just don't think it comes out for us. I think we finish 7th.
All right. Bang on. Bang on, bang on. Dial on, dial on. All right, Alan, you are up, my guy. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Well, to be fair, I never really cared about top four at the start of the season because I don't think we're good enough to even challenge. obviously we're challenging, and we've been challenging all this season so far. But it was always going to happen that even when we strike great form and continue the great form for a longer time, we do always find that big slump of form when we eventually lose games where we really should play better, but we don't. The transfer window starts realistically tomorrow because Moyes always does his business inside the last week of the transfer windows.
Our Christmas
regarding
starts
January.
22 days after the window opens.
Yep, exactly. So the transfer window starts tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. I'm confident that we're going to sign at least 2 players because Moyes knows what he wants, and the board knows that we need to invest, and Sullivan and Gold have an agenda with us signing players, because if we don't get top 4, the other way, if we do get top 4, they can possibly sell the club for a bit more than they would.
30 seconds.
And obviously Rice and Bowen are massive assets. If Rice leaves, then Kretinsky can back out of the deal to pay for the entirety of the club. So they have business with that. Are we going to get top 4? Maybe, probably not. Who knows? Like, Tottenham are Tottenham, so they can always lose the remainder of the games. Who knows what's going to happen? Right now, I would say no.
All right, fair enough. All right, Charlie. Big screen time. Actually, you know, we're going solo, Charlie. We're going solo. The judgy judge,
Under
Jerry
pressure.
Jerry
man.
Judge. Can I get some clarity out here? Who's taking the points? What are your thoughts?
Right. It's going to be 1-1 because it's one of those things where it's like, realistically, we've both sort of said the same thing. I think, you know, I'm tempted to take it off Costia for trying to suggest Dave Moyes is one of our greatest managers ever, where he's just not. But I don't think that's fair of me. So I think 1-1 is the only way you can put it. I think it's realistically we're not going to do it. I don't think there was a chance of doing it anyway. I think people were, you know, when everyone in the world decided I was the worst person on Twitter for 5 seconds, which was great fun, they all kept shouting the words "we're top 4" at us, at me, and no, we're not. Just because we're sitting in top 4 now doesn't mean we're necessarily going to get there. The truth of the matter is that we don't have the squad for it. I think we have a starting 11 good enough to make a run at European positions most seasons, but I don't think we have a squad deep enough to really make anything more than that. And if any injuries happen, then we're screwed, right? So, and that's what we've seen. We're seeing out of form players, injury players, and in an incredibly frustrating situation where we keep getting told that Antonio and the players are tired because they're playing so many games, and yet we're not seeing any rotation or new signings to help that. So, yeah, realistically, it's not going to happen. We don't have the structure. We don't have we don't have the desire. It's just not going to happen, is it? Whether or not we get any sort of European football, I'm still relatively hopeful. I still think there's a possibility of that, but like we've all just said, our window starts almost at the end of the month. So we'll see how it goes. Hey, listen, I've heard Dele Alli's available on loan, so get hyped, boys. Come
on. Real quick, we can make it short. This has nothing to do with points, but do you guys think there might be any surprises when it comes to the transfer window and us this season?
Yeah.
Anything at the top of your head?
Yeah, but it'll be like a Jordan Hugo, Patrice Evra type of surprise, and not a Jesse Lingard type of surprise.
Alan, you have any player or surprise at the top of your mind, real quick?
I don't know. I trust Moyes. So.
Like that, Charlie.
Anything
you said Dele Alli.
No, and anyone we sign will be someone we've been extensively linked to, and the only surprise will be if we actually pay money for him and not get him on loan. And even then, I'm not convinced. So
yeah.
All right, we move on.
Come on.
Let's go.
Who do you give the point to?
Both of you.
1-1.
Okay.
1-1. 1-1.
Well, thank you. Cool.
But
right.
again, I did consider taking it off you for even. It's just not even close.
But okay, well, Charlie, who's the third best West Ham manager of all time?
Let me put it this way: David Moyes has done exactly what Bilic did. He got us into Europe and then had a relegation close season. Where's the deepness here? Where's the deepness? What's he done any differently? Someone explain this to me, and we can have this conversation. But since then, he's done nothing else.
He saved us from relegation through Pellegrini. Then he comes over and finishes 6th on no budget, and now we're still sitting in 4th.
It was not no budget. He had significant investment. Souček, Ben Rama, these are all high. These are all pretty, like Souček, don't get me wrong, 15 million, but for West Ham, that's still quite a big. Ben Rama was in the 20 to 30 range. You know, he consistently spends money. He just takes forever to do it and then gets forced his hand. If anything, what Bilic getting us into Europe was more impressive. Now, don't get me wrong, again, Payet existed, but I mean, Payet only cost 10 million.
All right.
I'm just saying, I think we overhype it a bit too much, but I would never take you off that point because that's unfair of me. So 1-1 would be the.
All right, and this will move into our next topic free flowingly. We are gonna start with Alan this time. We're gonna get him over here. Next topic, lads. At this point in time, we are now technically 23 days into the transfer window. In your opinion, is it the board or Moyes at fault right now for no signings 22 days into the window? Just give me your thoughts. Yeah, 2 minutes, Alan. Your 2 minutes starts now.
It's Moyes' fault. Like, I don't think there's much more to say. Like, it's Moyes' fault. He takes a very long time actually recognizing the players he wants to sign. I guess he has a point in that because by the end of the transfer window, he knows which players are available, which players he can actually go for. I don't think board have anything to do with this, really, because as Moyes said, he has the funds, and we all know that he has the funds to sign players. Whether if it's 30 million or 40 or 50 or 60, that doesn't really matter, because we do have the funds, and so it's just on Moyes really to utilize the funds. I wouldn't really. I used to hate on Moyes because of that aspect of his management, spending a very long time signing players.
I did as well.
My opinion that changed now. I actually tend to agree with that right now. I mean, there are problems with it, like teams not
30 seconds.
Not willing to sell the players by the end of the window because they don't have much time to replace them. But I guess it makes sense. So I wouldn't really say Moyes' fault, let's say, but it is on Moyes that we're yet to actually bid for anyone. So that's that.
I don't know why. I love that closer, and that's that. That was cheeky. I really like that. All right, Costia, we're gonna slide you on over, pal. The light is on you. The mic is in your hands.
Okay. Well, I'm Team David Moyes thoroughly, so I'm not gonna suddenly change my tune because it's a new question. This idea that David Moyes, who has revolutionized our tactics and is a standout gentleman, would not have like a list compiled. The man goes to matches when he has an off day, he's at a match. He's watching Bury play Portsmouth, right? Like he's everywhere all the time. And this idea that he's the one who's waiting until the last few days is I just find that so insulting to his intelligence, because he's well prepared with everything else. So why would he procrastinate summer or January transfers unless there's an economic factor behind it? All right. You might tell me, oh, he did it at Everton, no one's like line by line given me like, oh, here's when all transfers through his Everton time came through and shown me a discrepancy between early window and late window. I haven't seen that data. And what I do know is that the people in charge, one of them went to prison for procurement. And so I'm going to trust the gentleman
real
over
quick,
the
can I
pimp
ask what that
every
means?
single time. It's the legal term for pimping. Okay. And I was just trying to not go into that, but he went to prison for that. And there's so many other things that I don't even want to. This is a family show. He's done things I'm not comfortable with talking on a PG show. And so this idea that he's not in the background screwing with things when he does it every single window. And now people want to blame the manager. He always throws the manager under the bus. And David Moyes is too kind to criticize. But my real problem is with Daniel Kretinsky, who is clearly not worth the 20 billion that some people on Twitter like to say, oh, he has undisclosed funds. How do you know he has undisclosed funds? If they're undisclosed, you wouldn't know, you random Twitter account. And he's probably a lot closer to the 4 billion that he's supposed to be worth, which means that 150 million was still a lot of quid for him. And so this idea that he's going to fund 40 to 80 million pounds for this window it must be non-existent. And he's just, you know what, do what you want, do what you normally do, because I've only bought 25%. This is just an investment for me. I'm not all in yet. And so it is absolutely the board's fault, and you can't blame a well-prepared gentleman for I don't like the dithering nickname. I think it's unfair. He's thorough. He's not like, look at how he's talking at the end of that Man U game. His tone and everything. It's not his fault. He's doing the best he can.
All right, Jerry Judge.
That's a lot to unpack there, Mr. Chairman.
That was. I mean,
a lot to unpack.
Credit to Costia. That was a lot, and I really like that response. But I interrupted you because I literally did not know what the hell that word meant. Genuinely,
two beautiful moments.
That was a gigantic word.
Gigantic. One of my two moments of the show there. First of all, and that's that, which I thought was a beautiful ending as well. I just love it, just the full stop, and then the other one, which is, what does that mean?
What was the word again?
Procurement.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's legally they're called procurers.
So, but yeah, so a lot to unpack. The first thing, our car, as Peach would say, you can spend over 70% on players' wages. UEFA recommends that as a healthy limit, to say, oh, it's healthy to have 70% of your income be spent on wages. Anything more than that is they consider unhealthy, and they start to think about potentially sending people to ask you what the fuck you're doing. But in reality, you can do that. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Otherwise, many teams in the Champions League and Europa League would never get in. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, that's fine. That's not an issue. Yeah, a lot to unpack. That's a difficult one. And what I want to do with this,
both really good answers.
Both very good answers. And what I want to do is I want to take my opinion out of the question, and I want to just base it on the facts that as it was played. Do you know what I mean? Because I think if I was to just have my opinion put on it, it would go one way, and so I want to take that out of this, right?
Because Charlie's a Moyes hater.
As people on Twitter very, very, very much like to tell me. So yeah, right. I think the fact of the matter is that if Moyes wasn't here, we would have signed several people already. I think but whether or not you think that's a good or a bad thing, I think you can debate. I think you can have a conversation about whether or not, if you want to put it in kind words, the thorough nature of him taking his time, picking people and stuff. Whether or not you want to say that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think the fact of the matter is if he wasn't here, if it was a different manager, we would have signed people. Whereas I think if you had different owners and Moyes was still in charge, we still would be in the same state of taking forever to sign anyone. Now, again, we can have discussions on whether or not we think that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I think there's plenty of arguments on both sides, and I think both people. I think Costia laid out part of an argument there for why it would be a good thing. I think Alan also sort of semi made that point as well a little bit. But when you say whose fault is it, you can't look past David Moyes, really. That's not to say David Sullivan and David Gold are notorious
Angels.
for signing people early, because my God, they are not notorious for that. But realistically, they would have, like, signings would have happened. It just kind of is what it is. And so with that, I will give the point to Alan. Because he said who, and again, I think the phrase "who is at fault" makes it kind of loaded. But I do think if you were to say who is the funnel here, the funnel is David Moyes, and that's the only reason I would go that way. Again, I don't want to put my opinion on this, because my opinion would put it very heavily in one way very quickly. But talking about the actual facts of the situation,
can I ask you a question, Charlie?
Yeah, of course.
You don't think that Moyes presents the financiers with a list in the first, like on day one, and that they make, but look at,
I'll tell you for two reasons. This is why. Two reasons. First one is, as much as we want to all talk about this idea that West Ham has stopped leaking, they do continue to leak. And one of the things that came out recently is that Moyes has finally made his decision on Diaz and Phillips being the two people he wants in the last couple of days, which makes it known that, again, this was still this ongoing conversation. The second thing is David Moyes is saying he's been working every day for 2 years, apparently, to try and sign a person and try to sign a striker and this, that, and the other, which shows that if there was some sort of list, this list was a long time ago. There's no.
I said it because I was asked to say it. I actually we can't
dock the man for that.
Wash your mouth out with soap, young man.
We cannot dock the man for that. But yeah, which shows, again, he's either had this list for a long time or he hasn't. And again, the fact that we haven't signed someone shows that we probably haven't. That's not to say, again, the thing is, if you say who's at fault, I think the fault, if you want to talk about it in those sort of loaded terms, is with everyone. There should be a more cohesive system. It should be a case, and this is why Pellegrini went and did so well, is because he demanded the money. He demanded a guy to come in and do it for him. And so essentially they just got everything done. He brought the list, he brought the people, he knew what he was getting on with, whereas we're still taking long to do everything because that hasn't been the case, right? So if you want to talk about who's at fault, the fault lies with everyone. It's neither here nor there. It's neither Sullivan, it's neither Moyes. It's actually everyone at the club. You know, there should be a unifying force pulling forward in a singular direction to go and make the signings necessary to do. There is that. This is bringing my opinion into it. It isn't a case of like who's at fault. Everyone is at fault. Moyes is at fault for taking too bloody long to do anything. David Sullivan's at fault for trying to do other things that David Moyes doesn't want to do and expecting it to happen, like he did with someone like Ben Rama, for example. And then I don't even know what so many other people like Newman's doing at the club. Like, I feel like that should have made this whole thing more streamlined. That's not happening. Everyone is at fault. But if you are to say one person where the funnel is, it's David Moyes. And so if we are to break it down like I said, I don't want to bring my opinion into it because I think it's a much more nuanced conversation. But fault makes it difficult. But yeah, I think if David Moyes wasn't here, we would have signed someone already.
Yeah,
but it's that push and pull of having two different ideas that is ultimately making us frozen in the market completely, and then we have to wait and sit and wait. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure with this question that you didn't have the ability to choose both, because if we could, we would all say both.
Yeah,
clearly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Graham, you are correct. Chelsea 1-0 up. Get in there. Thank you.
Can I ask a stupid question? Who are they facing?
Spuds.
Oh, love that. Yeah.
Oi.
Hey, lads.
You know, so you gave Alan the point, correct? Or who?
Yes.
You gave Alan the point? Well, you know what? I'm giving Costia a half a point because, you know, I really actually wait. It was 2-1
for procurement, correct? Or something else.
Well, you
love a bit of procurement.
Don't say that, Charlie.
Love a bit of procurement.
Charlie,
I'm all day, every day.
What Charlie just
out here procuring. You know what I mean?
Even though you gave a very lengthy answer and you did go about 20 seconds over the time, some of it my fault. I will admit. That's why I'm going to give you half a point. So it's 3 to 2.5. And I even gave our judge 1 point because he put his opinion aside. And what a man! Absolute lecture, absolute masterclass. You should have a master class. I'm Charlie Walsh. This is my master class.
Let's make a gif of me doing the David Moyes masterclass. Like. Do you know what I mean? That gif of David Moyes doing it. We'll do that. I'll get that.
With those dreamy Scottish tartan eyes.
But me like. You know what I mean? I think that's a banger. I want end debate.
For our promo video, what Alan did, I want you to reenact what Alan did for our promo video. I need a good model walk, turn around, and I need one of these. I need one of those.
Yeah.
So
Great promo.
Right now it is Alan 3, Costia 2.5, and Charlie with a cheeky 1 point. I put Danny down, and I'm waiting for Danny to make a splash. But we'll see what happens.
Danny says he loves a bit of procurement. He says he's out here all day, every day. You know
I thought he said Avid.
He said Avid. He said Avid.
All right. Let's try to get on a more positive note. I think we can all agree even though we don't like to see people out with COVID, out with an injury, yada yada yada. We gotta admit it was nice to see Areola in a Premier League game. So let's get on to that. Give me your thoughts, Costia, on Areola's performance. What'd you think? How'd you feel? Did he make you feel little butterflies or things inside of you watching him?
Oh, every time.
Your 2 minutes starts now.
So Alphonse Areola has not been here long enough to have a, like if he's here for a while, he could be one of my favorite players. I just, I like French players obviously, but he's got, I really think he's a top 10 goalkeeper in the world. I really do feel that way. And I'm reminded of a time when Javier Mascherano, guys, I'm doing something live right now. So I'll see you very soon. Give me like 20 minutes. Okay. 2 4-year-olds just walked in. It's just that went pretty well actually.
2 4-year-olds walk into a bar.
Please deduct that from my time. Where was I? Yes. There was a time when Javier Mascherano couldn't get in the side because the manager was too loyal to Aiden Mullins. And I think it's a little unfair to Fabianski. I don't think he's quite Mullins. I think he's more Lee Boyer. Like he's just a little bit better. But the guy should be starting week in, week out. I haven't seen him lay a finger wrong whenever he has played. I don't think you like spend time at Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain if like you're not going to, and like being back up on those clubs means you must start here, right? Like Ogbonna was like maybe 3rd string center back at Juventus, comes here, must start, vice captain. And I think it's been obvious all along, and I think that Moyes, again going back to him being a gentleman, can be a little too loyal. And a little hesitant to make changes. And, but I thought yesterday the Fred shot was a good save. He just looks very assured, confident. He's taller and stronger than Fabianski. So going forward, I really hope he's starting. And I would like him to start for us for the next 5 years. I really think it could be.
I think we can all
like
agree on that.
If the dominoes fall the way they should, that's how it should go. I can still see us screwing it up though, and having Sam Johnston in there for some God knows what reason next season, and letting him go to another club like Villa or something.
20 seconds,
and they'll take advantage. And I'm done early.
And that's that.
Can I for just as a cheeky bonus remaining time, Costia? What's butterflies in your stomach in French?
So that's an idiomatic expression that does not translate. So there's no.
Okay. What would it be? Literally?
But again, I only.
There were literally butterflies in my stomach. What would
des papillons dans mon ventre.
Oh my god, I just love it. I love it
but
so
that's
much.
Not,
what a man!
Oh man.
What a man!
There must
like I'm
be
on the Paris Metro.
Yeah.
And while you look that up, we're gonna move
I don't
Alan
think it's a
on to the
thing.
spotlight.
Fair enough.
Alan, your time starts now. Give me your overall thoughts and how Alphonse Areola makes you feel inside.
I mean, he's just good. Like when you have the term "good," I realize good.
Like,
Even sometimes you can argue that better than good. Yeah, I would agree with Costia that he's probably around the 10th mark when it comes to goalkeepers in the world. Because I mean, he's just class. Whenever ball comes in, I always look at any cross, any free kick, any corner coming in. In my head is just, well, Areola is going
he
to
could catch a water
come out
balloon
and
from 30
catch
yards
it.
out.
Yeah, like he's
Safe hands.
he's just so assured in the goal. He the confidence he gives to the defense, knowing that they can make a mistake and there's a goalkeeper behind them who's going to make that right decision pretty much every single time. It's not going to be like Fabianski who will come out, come back in, not really knowing what he wants to do. Areola is always in the right place in the right time. I don't know how we have this guy sitting on the bench every week because it just doesn't make sense. He just has to be starting and he has to stay at the club forever. Like when he's 36 and
20
going to
seconds.
make the occasional mistake or something, I would still go and say, I want this guy in the net all the time. And I just can't do it with Fabianski because Fabianski is very good. We can agree on that he is very good. But he does make the occasional mistake. There will be time. Okay, anyway.
No, finish your thought. Finish it.
There are times where like shot goes straight at him and he just doesn't do anything. Like Areola is not like that. He's more athletic. He's just more assured in the goal. So that's that.
All right. I just love when you say that. You know what, Alan, you need to add that to into your Twitter bio, and that's that.
That's that.
That is
I'll
absolutely
try.
class.
And that's that.
All right, Charlie. Give me an assessment and some points for these two lads. Two very great answers. One from the passionate Frenchman. Oh wait, Costia, did you look up? Did you get an answer for what you were looking up?
Great point.
Yeah. I did a little bit of research and there really is no equivalent. Like you can refer to being stressed or nervous with a couple expressions, but they don't sound the same at all. And they're a little bit more literal. They're not as poetic as having to do with butterflies or anything like that. They're just literally like, my nerves are in my stomach, or I have a marble in my throat. Like there's things like that.
Knees
but
weak, arms are heavy.
There's vomit on his sweater already.
He's nervous, but on the surface, I've heard he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. Anyway, yeah.
But Jerry Judge keeps on forgetting what he wrote down.
The whole crowd goes so yeah. No.
The chairman opens his mouth, but the words won't come out.
The words won't come out. Okay. Areola, yeah, man. He's a goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. He's a good goalkeeper. He is. I really like Fabianski. I can't lie to you. You want to talk about like goalkeepers, like talking about, like, for example, we were talking about Moyes being like whatever ranking of managers or whatever. Like Fabianski's probably one of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen at West Ham in my lifetime. Like realistically, he just like, and obviously he's not had many like you're looking at the competition, you're thinking probably Adrian, David James. Like there's not that many big goalkeepers during my lifetime, right? David James is the first one I can actively super remember lots about. So it's not that many, but realistically, like it's him or Rob Green, and that's about it. Like, but Areola, you look at him, and you think if Areola actually stayed, man, we'd be good. Man, we'd be in such a good position next season. Fab's obviously signed his new contract now, and so if it was Fabianski as second choice and Areola as first choice, and you can play Fabianski in the cup competitions against non-big teams or Europe or whatever, oh my god, it'd be so good. He's got everything. He's got the big difference for me is the distribution. He's so much more comfortable with it. Fabianski could just be all over the shop sometimes, and like he catches the ball. Like, for example, it'll be like a cross or whatever. And when we're a counter-attacking team, right? I think that's fair to say with David Moyes, we're a very counter-attacking team. And when he gets the ball from corners or whatever, Areola's like instantly like, right, I'm playing the ball out. Where's it going to? What am I doing? And I actually have the confidence he's going to hit the person at the other end, whether he's kicking it or throwing it or whatever. I'm like, he will actually do that. Whereas Fabianski will catch it and there'll be like a big period of like, good one, boys. We did that. And I'm like, oh man, just come on. We take the opportunity when it's there. And Areola really does I love him a lot. I'm desperate for us to sign him. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, but I'm desperate for it to happen.
That is one thing I'll keep the faith on. I don't think we're stupid. I don't think we're that stupid. We've got to sign him.
I hope you're right. I really do. As Mark Ars just said, I think the wages will probably stop it from happening, but I really hope it does because he's the right age. You give him a long contract. That's our first choice goalkeeper sorted for years.
Years.
He's
He's gonna be the best in the world.
Best in the world. When it comes to points, I think 1-1. I think again, but two strong arguments that I can't pass too much. I don't want to.
We're having an absolute heater today, boys.
I think putting it either way, Lucas, Mr. Chairman, would be maybe disrespectful. So I think 1-1's the only fair and true result from that round. Because we all agree Areola's really flipping good.
You know, we can all concede to that. Costia and Allen are bringing the fire today. I like that a lot. Really, the only thing keeping Costia away is a cheeky answer. Who's going to pull away?
Very possible in the final round.
And
we've seen what Costia can do in final rounds, Mr. Chairman. We have.
He's an absolute passion merchant, and I expect nothing less than for this last topic to be an absolute dessert of a time.
A dessert
of a time. Doesn't make any sense, but I'm gonna make it make sense.
All right, with your chest, I'll back it. It's gonna be a dessert. It's gonna be a dessert of the time. It's gonna be a dessert of the time.
I love it. All right, lads. Last topic. We're gonna see who walks away with these points. So, out of the absolute blue, we get a Dominic Calvert-Lewin link, double barrel last name. Some people have feelings about that. I kind of like double barrel last names, to be honest with you. Just out of the blue, Everton's son, or the son, however you want to relate to it, came out and said that West Ham are interested in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and we might have to splash £60 million. It's a hell of a rumor report to make, and you know what, you both, I just want you to give me your overall thoughts about that rumor, how he'd fit with us, if you'd like it, if you don't like it, really whatever your thoughts are. Costia, you're going to start off first. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Calvert-Lewin, Hudson-Odoi,
yes,
Loftus-Cheek, Brereton Diaz, Rene Adelaide, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Maitland Miles. So anyway, now I'm done with that bit. Look, there's no grain of truth to this. And if like on the deadline day we suddenly do sign Calvert-Lewin for 60 million, like I don't know where I'll be, but I will dance in just an embarrassing way and start shrieking, because what it will mean is that Daniel Kretinsky does have money and does want to invest, because certainly that kind of funding is not going to come from the two Muppets. It does reek of a David Moyes type of signing. It's very like Kurt Zuma. Yes, Paul, I love this tracksuit. I got this in 2016, by the way, Payet season, and it's still in good shape. So I'm hoping, it's still, they have it in the club shop. I saw it last year, so it lasts. It's a good one.
You will not be deducted. Keep going.
It reeks of David Moyes. It's like a guaranteed shoe-in Premier League experience, quality player. Reminds me of signing Zuma. But that 60 million number is probably what Everton want.
Mhm.
And could it be out of the question for us to pay 35 million for one player and then, loan a couple others? That sounds like something that we maybe could do. But the reason I'm discouraged is it's the rags that are running with this. It's the Sun, it's the Mirror, it's the Express. It's not in the Telegraph.
Real quick,
or
what do
the
you think? What do you
Guardian.
think Calvert-Lewin's worth?
I mean, 50 English tax.
Do you think that's fair? 50?
But Everton need cash, apparently. I don't know. Like, maybe buying Allen and that Icelandic guy for so much money wasn't a great idea. I thought they had more money than us. But
I'm just happy Allen took time out of his
apparently
busy
they're
football
having,
schedule to come chat with us.
Apparently they're having a Burnley over there, and they have to sell everyone. So if you can get them on the cheap, you have to. 35 million can't, like, that's not that much for Kretinsky, right? That you would think coming in as a new owner, like, you would try to get us a marquee signing a
20
la
more seconds.
Robinho. So, no, I mean, that was pretty much it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a very, like, classic West Ham rumor. It's very believable. And I think that someone smart at a paper, like I think it came out in the Mail first, right? That person was clever. They were like, okay, I put to it, it's Everton, it's his old club. It smells like a West Ham story, but then when you eat it, it's going to taste like crap. So that's that.
Like that.
Lucas, you
What?
just the way you just went, I'm glad he's taken time off his busy football schedule to talk to us today.
We
absolutely tore me apart, and I don't know why.
We talked about Allen, and he's a great Premier League player, and I'm just happy he took the time out of his busy footy schedule to come and do our show.
He's here, man.
I greatly appreciate it.
Brazilian.
Hey, you never know with these cats anymore. You just never know. You go from Spanish to Brazilian. You go from Brazilian to Polish to English.
Who knows?
I don't know what these men them anymore. I don't know.
No, but a man them, bro.
All right, Alan, your 2 minutes will start now. What are your opinions on this link? Do you like it? Do you love it? And what do you think is a fair price for him? Because I think we can all agree, 60 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of coin. That's a lot of coin.
It is a lot, yeah.
Your time starts now.
Well, two things about the rumor itself. Usually when I look at rumors from, like Costia said, the Sun, etc., I think that that's probably bullshit, and so I don't really care. But it came from Alan Nixon, and he's usually very reliable when it comes to EFL transfers and Championship, League One, League Two. Not so much regarding Premier League, but I know he has sources and he knows quite a bit because he was very spot on Diangana and Benrahma signings. So I'd say that he is reliable. So that's one. Two, the article itself says that the value is 60 million. We're not going to pay 60 million, but if the price tag comes down, we're going to be first in the queue. So
what do you think is a fair price in your opinion?
I'd say 50, yeah. Because when you look at, let's say, Tammy Abraham,
just take away the British tax and it's fair.
What's his value? Regarding his ability, like none of it English tax, I'd say 35 possibly at max. But his English is young, he's Premier League proven, so 40 to 45, maybe 50 is a fair value. When you, let's say, look at Tammy Abraham, who was 40, 45, and I think Calvert-Lewin is much better than Abraham. So I'd say 45 is like, you have to buy him for that price. he would be a perfect signing for us. He's pretty much a Moyes player who would suit us perfectly. He's very good in the air. He's quite fast for his
25
how
seconds.
tall he is, and so yeah, I like the link itself to Calvert-Lewin. I think it's genuine because knowing Moyes, he's got like 500 strikers on his list and scouts all of them at once. And he does strike me as a Moyes player. So I do think it's genuine and I love it, honestly.
All right, fair enough. Charlie.
Cameron, could I ask a follow-up question to the two esteemed gentlemen?
The two Mendem.
Yeah, one self-proclaimed Thomas Suchek-esque midfielder and the other one Brazilian midfielder Alan. Can I ask a follow-up question? Is that okay?
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
You know,
Let's
you're
start-
gonna get a point for asking permission, Charlie. Getting a point.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Okay, Costia, you can start, I guess. If we were to sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin in this window, or next window, let's say it happened in the summer, but let's just say whichever window, it doesn't make a difference. Would you be okay with us only signing Dominic Calvert-Lewin and literally no other players in that window? So let's say it was this window or in the summer window. Either way, I don't mind. Would you be okay with him being the only signing we made and no one else? Not any loans, nothing like that. Just him being the only one.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic that scenario is. Like I feel like there's always at least a second, cheeky loan in there that's cheap or something. But if my answer is yes to winter, no to summer. Summer, we have a lot of players in the last year of their contract or their contract's running out. So summer, absolutely not. Winter, sure, because it doesn't solve all three problems I think we have, but it solves the biggest one. So yeah, and it's like he's young, he's going to be here for a while, he's proven, and I think he'll do better in our side than maybe he does with Everton.
Okay, interesting. Brazilian centre midfielder Alan, your opinion?
Brazilian,
to
Polish
me-
midfielder.
and to me, it only depends on what we do with Ariola and Kral, because if we do permanently sign Kral and Ariola, then I'd say yes, because we'd have covering midfield even with Noble leaving. We'll have three midfielders, possibly Lanzini and Fornals dropping deep. For Fredericks will be leaving. We don't need another right back. We have Sufal and Johnson and possibly Ashby. Yarmolenko leaving. Calvert-Lewin will cover that. We have enough attacking midfielders as it is. We do need a left back, but that can be fixed in January, so that wouldn't be much a problem. Regarding centre backs, I think we're good, anyways, because Urbana will be back. So for both, like, I would be more inclined to say yes for summer than right now, because now we do need a centre back and we preferably need a left back because of Cresswell's form, let's say. And yeah, we do need a striker, but there are possibly even bigger problems. And if we, let's say, fix these problems now and then sign just Calvert-Lewin in summer, that would make much more sense than the other way around.
What's your opinion, Mr. Chairman? I'm intrigued to know.
I don't know. I think this in terms of argument and points, this has probably been, dare I say, our best episode. Both lads brought the heat today, and it's been a tight race. But I hired you to make the tough decisions. I don't pay you anything, but I hired you.
And I'm thankful for that opportunity. Yeah. I asked the follow-up question because I think there's some element of truth to it, I believe. I think if you ever want an example of how yes, leaks do still exist at West Ham, this is a prime bloody example. West Ham have an awful performance. Everyone starts bemoaning the fact we don't have a striker, and then the next day in the Sun, all of a sudden, West Ham are interested in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Not made a bid, nothing like that. Are interested in, screams a West Ham league. If you've ever wanted an example, there's the biggest one going. But I do think, I do think there is some truth to it. I think Costia, for example, if you're talking about that list that David Moyes would put together, for example, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin would probably be very, very high up that list. Premier League proven, good, young age, could be here for a long time. Basically fits everything Moyes would want. He's pretty fast. He's pretty strong. He's good in the air. He can win those balls. Like, he's everything he would want. I think he would actually be one of the first choice options up there. So I do think there is certainly some truth to it. I don't think there's much truth in that will make any movements in the end at the end of the day, but I do think there is some truth that there is definitely interest there. And that's why I sort of wanted to ask that follow-up question, because it's like you say, Mr. Chairman, it's a difficult one. It's madness. It's I would go as far as to say, I would go past interesting. I'd go, it's an intriguing one. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a step further than that. I think it's a step further than that, because I'm really struggling to figure out who's put in. I don't. I'm gonna have to say 1 point each again. Oh, I don't know how comfortable I feel about that, but I think I might have to.
So Alan wins by a half point.
That's what it's looking like.
I don't feel comfortable doing it, but I think it had to happen.
All right.
It's a very even season.
And just like racing, just like NASCAR, Alan won. So I'm gonna give him a nice little 30-second winner circle. Alan, you got anything you want to tell the people or get anything off your chest?
Boo!
Literally anything. You're in the winner circle.
I'm just kidding.
As Sean Evans would say on Hot Ones, this camera. Tell the people what you
got
want to tell them. I don't know.
I want to thank my mom, my dad, Charlie, my girlfriend, and I want to just say, Ryan Fredericks, you fucking shit. Fuck off, back to Fulham. We just headed a fucking ball. Fuck off.
That was fucking quality. All right.
Mr. Chairman, can we just all appreciate as well how I got a higher billing than Alan's girlfriend? Can we just appreciate?
And honestly,
Mom,
I think
Dad,
Alan,
Charlie, girlfriend.
And even with that, Alan's win by half a point deserved for that winner circle speech. Before we go, as always, actually, let's get a few comments back in here. Alan, absolute lad. They're literally screaming your name. Screaming. Yes, love it. Yeah, Costia might deserve more credit. He has done well.
Am I the one bullying, or am I being bullied? Or is it both?
I try to keep it as straight and down the line as possible. There's times where I remove my opinion out of it because it would sway the needle too much. I try to run it fairly, Mr. Chairman. I try to run it fairly.
And that's why I hired you. You are, you could make an argument I should be paying you. But in due time,
all I'm saying is, if there was a second judge, maybe I'd unionize. But by myself, I don't know if the union would be popping off like that. So we'll have to stick into
in due time. We're gonna wrap it up. We're about to hit the hour mark. We went a little over than we normally do, but we were having a great time. Conversation flowing. Everyone was spitting facts. The Mendem was on fire today. Fire.
Chelsea 2-0. 10 minutes left.
Yes, love to see it.
Spurs remain below us where they belong.
And as always, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. It is always a pleasure speaking with you lot. And I want to thank the chat as always. I love seeing everyone in chat. Thank you, Tim, for stopping by. Lawrence, Graham on Facebook, Mark R, West Ham Clips. Pleasure always, my friend. Paul, thank you. Jay Woods.
Is that Tiger's cousin?
New Hampshire Hammer. always a pleasure. I hope you're well. Well, I hope you all are well, but just saying that in there. And then last but not least, Fremer 007, like your Bond. Love that. Thank you for stopping in and dropping an opinion. Yeah, yesterday sucked. But now, again, I feel like West Ham are starting to we're starting to catch breaks when we need them. You know what I mean? There's been a couple times this season now where we dipped in form and then we had a nice international break to recoup. There's not an international break really this time, but we do have a nice little break to hopefully regroup, get everybody fit, and for God's sake, hopefully get some signings in. We have how many more days? We have 8 more days. Shoot, I mean, let's just all make sure we say a prayer before we go to bed tonight that we get someone in. Again, thank you everyone. Again, thank you Alan, thank you Charlie, thank you Costia for joining me. And until next time, come on you Irons.
Hide
Peace.
the